Today, we'll build up a lighting scenario and take a look at a way to improve our fill light, making for a more cinematic, three-dimensional image. In this shot, we've got our subject sat in a room with a household bulb switched on in the background, inside a lampshade. So first of all, let's add a key light into the scene. We've matched the colour temperature of an LED panel to our household lamp, and simply bounced it from a large piece of bleached muslin material to our subject's right, giving the key a good amount of light wrap and shape on our subject's face. We then added a small, subtle splash of light onto the back curtain with a pocket LED panel to add a little more detail and balance out our image. This setup looks great already. It's moody, contrasty, and a good representation of the lamp illuminating the scene. However, not every shot should look this way. It's all dependent on the atmosphere you're trying to create within the image. What if we want to keep this cinematic feeling, but present a cozier, less dramatic look? To do this, we could add some fill light into the scene. When we first learn about the basics of fill light, we might pick up on the classic free light setup: key light, fill light, and backlight. We'll be ignoring the backlight part of this setup, as we don't feel it's needed in the scene. But in the classic free light setup scenario, the fill is generally opposite the key. So let's try this out in our scene. We placed another sheet of bleached muslin material opposite our key light. And on closer inspection, it's done a good job of filling in the shadows on the side of the face. But the effect is subtle, and we really wanted a bit more light in the image, as overall, this still looks pretty dark. So to give us more control over the exposure of our fill, we bounced a second light from the fill. But now that we have more light on the shadow side of the face, we've created a bit of an issue. When compared to before, you can see just how much we flattened out our image by brightening up our fill light. This is taking away from the cinematic, controlled feeling we were looking to keep intact, and making our image feel less natural. So if a dimmer fill light is too little, and a brighter fill light is too much, how do we achieve a less dramatic yet cinematic look using fill light? The answer can actually lie between your key light and fill light. Let's take our second light away from the fill, leaving it to once again reflect our key light at a lower level. Then let's add some more bleached muslin material over by our key to wrap around our subject and scene. Finally, we'll add our second light back in, but this time bouncing from our added material at a lower power than our key. Set to a lower power than our key, our second light bouncing from the muslin material extends our key, wrapping it around the face in a natural graduation. Our fill light brings up the exposure on the shadow side of the face as before. But compared to before, this setup forms a much more natural graduation of light. This has created the lighter, cozier mood that we wanted, yet retains a controlled, cinematic, three-dimensional feel. It's not necessarily that the positioning of the fill light in a basic free light setup is wrong, but more about what's happening in between our key and fill that can make for a more natural looking image. We can even take this one step toward a slightly moodier look and replace our bleached muslin fill light material with a black material, creating a negative fill, which simply means we're taking light away rather than filling it in. With our graduated key light, we still have some of the wrapping light on our face, but we now fall off into deep shadow on the shadow side of the face. A happy medium between our dark, original one light setup and our final, cozier feeling 2 light setup plus fill. So we can use fill light to fill in shadows, or negative fill to darken those shadows, each providing a way to tweak the feeling of the light to how we want it to look on our subject and scene.